What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Double D Report. I know Dean's quacking in the background, doesn't fucking matter, but we're back after a 1 week hiatus. There's a reason for it, and it's simple as this. Baseball took over our life. Yankee games were on at a certain time. We watched the games. It would have got recorded later. We're gonna make it up with in these coming weeks. Don't worry about it, guys. All right, but this will be another episode of the Double D Report with me and Dean. We're gonna have fun this week. Talk about football, my sadness, Dean's moderately happiness.
Yeah, I think I know we missed a couple of weeks, but we're gonna just talk about last week because given, 2 weeks ago, nobody wants to hear about that shit anymore, right? It's ancient history. However, do have to talk about last week's Thursday night football game, which was arguably, in my opinion, the best game of the week. We've talked about on this podcast for multiple weeks now how, as a Giants fan or just as a Giants organization, what you want to see for the rest of this year is promise, right? You want to see steps in the right direction. You want to see progress into a new era of Giants football rather than the sad football that we've seen for the last 5 to 10 years. Over the last 3 weeks, we have gotten a taste of that. Right? Us Giants fans were so hyped coming into this year from the previous draft because of one guy who we thought could be a savior for us, Jackson Dart, right? Season's far from over. His career is just starting, right? So it's hard not to get into these overreactions. But at the same time, he went into Thursday night football, right? A couple of weeks being removed from starting his first NFL game and making an upset against the Los Angeles Chargers, against the Philadelphia Eagles team who just won the Super Bowl last year, who has one of the best offensive lines, who is, going to send pressure towards Dart nonstop. And he went into MetLife and he won. Well, not him only, but the New York Giants won the game, which was probably, and I don't even think this is an exaggeration, which is kind of sad, right? But this is probably the biggest win the New York Giants have had in the last 5 years.
You waiting for me?
I'm waiting for you to be sad, maybe start crying, maybe rebuttal a little bit.
The tears are gone. Let's just say that. The tears are so far gone. That Thursday night game was the most despicable game I've ever seen on planet Earth. Starting off with Jalen Hurts. When the Eagles potentially have a chance going into the third quarter, driving down the field off of a couple good plays, mind you, Dallas Goedert having a phenomenal year. His name can't go unrecognized. He's playing great right now. But having a great drive, a 38-yard pass deep down the field to bring him to midfield by Jalen Hurts to, guess who? Dallas Goedert. Brings him down the field and then throws a blatant, easy, readable. I'm telling you this right now. Dean, in a fucking wheelchair, could have picked that off. Because that route was so readable. It's third down and like 7, and you're running an out route to the sideline. What the fuck are you doing? It was a horrible pass. Hold on. No. It was a horrible flat pass. What's his name? Caleb Flott? Who is in my opinion, he's going to be a star corner for the Giants. I think I have high expectations for him. I think he's a good corner. I'm just so pissed off on how I go on this podcast saying Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback. I'm like, boom, top 5, stamp it, bam. This motherfucker puts on back-to-back weeks, mind you, of just donkey dick games. To where now, I don't even, he's on the verge right now of being not even in the top 10.
Okay. So I'm going to kind of disband you for a second because you're a frustrated Eagles fan. That's fine, right? I'm not going to get into the top 10 stuff. I think both of us have said what we had to say prior to the year, right? I've gotten shit for it from pretty much every chatting platform where our videos have been posted. So I don't want to get into it. Yes, my take is happening to be looking pretty good right now, but I don't want to get into it. There was a couple. I want to talk first and foremost about the Giants defense for this game, right? Because they showed out. They came to play. It was one of those games, and it's turning into these rookies on the offensive side of the ball, right, are energizing the defensive side of the ball. And not to mention, both of our wins with Dart at starting quarterback, right, where our defense played great, have been at MetLife, which has not happened in the last few years, right? MetLife has not been a scary place to go into, but you can always hope that things change a little bit. And you could hear it in the crowd. You could hear it in the energy, right? They're just so excited to watch any resemblance of an exciting and maybe good team that it's been energizing them. But I did want to start off on the defensive side of the ball. They came in with a perfect game plan this game, right? Their game plan, short and simple, Derek. Stop Saquon Barkley. Stop the run game. And they did it. They did it to perfection. Barkley only had 58 yards. Jalen Hurts only had 13 yards on 7 carries. And mind you, 3 of those carries were consecutive on bullshit tush pushes at like the 3-yard line. 4. 4. Sure. Add another one to it, fuckers. Anyway, they came in with that game plan. Let's stop the run game. Let's stop the Eagles' strength, because that is the Eagles' strength, right? That's where they have so much success against other teams who just can't stop Barkley. And the Giants said, we're going to do this, and that's it. We're going to see how it turns out, right? Yes, there were some mistakes on Jalen Hurts' part, right? He threw that pick in the red zone. Horrific pass, you're correct. Horrific read. If you watch that pass again, A.J. Brown is wide open over the middle of the field. But Jalen Hurts had tunnel vision right to the flat, and Flott was right there to pick it off and take it the other way. The second thing is Hurts absolutely overthrew a wide open, naked receiver down the field in the fourth quarter for what could have been probably an 80-yard touchdown.
Third quarter, by the way. That was third quarter.
Third quarter, right? Late third quarter. Completely overthrew him by a good 5-10 yards.
15.
And nobody was around that receiver. Nobody. So yes, the Giants defense wasn't perfect, but they came in here with a game plan to stop the run game, and they did it. They succeeded. They said, you know what? If the Eagles are going to beat us, which was still possible and which was still probable, by the way, they're going to do it on the arm of Jalen Hurts rather than the run game where Saquon is going to go for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. They just weren't going to allow that. And it worked. I'm not saying it's going to work every time. Stopping Saquon is a tough task as in itself, right? You're not going to stop Saquon every game. It's just not going to happen. But this game, they made it a point to. This game, their entire game plan was focused around it, and they did that. So I thought the Giants' defensive scheme deserved a lot of credit for this game.
Yeah. Dean, I just have a couple questions for you. Quick answers. When was the last time the Giants won a Thursday night game?
It has been now since 2000 and I believe 12. We are 0-11 in our last 11 before this one.
What you're telling me is that the division rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champs, the team who just won the Super Bowl last year, just lost to the New York Football Giants on national television. Mind you, what is their record on national television?
God, that's worse. We're not going to get into that.
All right, I'm pretty sure they haven't won a national televised game that's like a Sunday night or Monday night or all those in a while.
It's been a while. It was probably during the Daniel Jones era, but even then, it probably wasn't that exciting.
It was like 6 years ago, right?
Probably.
So you're telling me this is that the Eagles walked into this game and got dog walked by Scatabo. That motherfucker, Cam Scatabo, who you didn't fully mention, but I'm going to mention him a little bit.
Yeah, I wanted to go on the defensive side of the ball first, but I'm going to let you talk. I love to hear this, so get into the offense.
All right. What I saw from the Giants' offense was absolutely obscene. The Eagles, who are known for having, as what Pro Football Focus and most other stats say, they have a very good defense this year. Or they've had a good defense in the past 2 years because of Vic Fangio. Which, great, I'm happy. A rookie quarterback, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Cam Scatabo took that stat and shit on our chest. Scatabo had 3 touchdowns. It was like the motherfucker was made out of steel and was running through everyone. I've never seen Zach Bond, an all-pro, a first-team all-pro, a pro bowler, who we just paid a lot of fucking money to, get launched in the air by Scatabo. Mind you, that motherfucker runs with his head down, and he could get injured in the near future. I hope he doesn't, because he's a good running back. But he is running like a fucking freight train, and the Eagles cannot stop that. Wan'Dale Robinson went pretty much unguardable. Kelly Ringo, it was like he was wet sandpaper. He wasn't even there. You might as well just had Wan'Dale run open practice. It was despicable. And Jackson Dart did what he had to do. And he started off strong, which on their first drive, on a long first drive, scores a touchdown. I'm pretty sure opening touchdown of the game.
It was the opening. It was the opening touchdown of the game. He ran it in.
And that set the tone for the entirety of the game.
Yep. Look, everything you just said is correct, right? And then I don't like agreeing with you a lot of times. Scatabo is New York's favorite crayon eater. Right? This guy is an absolute psychopath. He hits his head against brick walls to warm up before games, right? He says he's got to get his neck right. That's just a psychopath mentality. You do not want to be in front of him when he's coming full freight train speed mode at you. And to your point, he did run over Bond like he wasn't even there. And that is, you are 100% correct, one of the strongest, most prolific linebackers in the NFL. It's snowballing into a effect where the Giants' offense is starting and getting a little bit of rhythm, right? They were and I do want to mention this because I think it needs to be said. The Giant team that we saw against the New Orleans Saints and the Giant team that we saw against the Philadelphia Eagles, complete opposites. Complete. If you put different uniforms on these teams, you wouldn't even know they're the same. So the next step for the Giants is consistency. Right? Building on these small wins, building on this momentum, because once you do that, then you can start setting up yourself for the future, right? This year is going to be a lot of process, trial and error. It's going to be a lot of going through the process of a lot of rookies on your team, right? Jackson Dart, you're 100% correct, did what he had to do. I like that they're implementing, he's throwing the ball a little bit more, right? First game against the Chargers, he did a lot of running, a lot of RPOs. This time around, 25 pass attempts, almost 200 yards, a touchdown, and implementing his legs into the process, right? Adding another 60 yards and a touchdown. So just making him throw the ball more, knowing what he can do with his legs, is going to make him such more of an effective quarterback. And mind you, Derek, this guy is doing it without Neighbors moving forward for the rest of the year. He's doing it with his wide receiver one as Wan'Dale Robinson, who no slight to Wan'Dale, but he's not a wide receiver one, right? So now you have to go in there with Wan'Dale, little Jordan Humphrey, who, by the way, actually looked solid. And he clearly has a connection with Dart. I don't want to get too much detail into it because he is a practice squad player, but you try to find diamonds in the rough, especially when you're at this stage of an NFL season. And then Theo Johnson looks really good, a promising tight end. Scatabo even getting into the passing game. So they just need to start getting more consistent, right? They need to put together consistent efforts on a week-to-week basis because, for example, there, if they come out this next week against Denver and lay an absolute shit egg, you start to feel less good about it, right? Even if they lose, I think what Giants fans want to see is a competitive game where you're in it in the fourth quarter and your team looks promising the whole game, exciting. If you get blown out in Denver, everything you just did against the Eagles gets forgotten about.
Yeah. The thing that aggravates me the most, obviously, it was a great win for the Giants. Great win for the Giants. But as what you were saying, with the playbook, well, with how now he's implementing into the pass games, and what they did for a rookie quarterback, which is great on the offensive coaching side, is you opened up the playbook for the kid. The Chargers, his playbook was like this. Saints, it was like this. Against the Eagles, a divisional game, it was like this. He had an open playbook and was able to control the game the way he wanted to do. With the run, if you want to run, he could call run play. If you want to fucking pass, he was passing. It was good coaching. What I saw on this game, which can't go unnoticed, is Brian Daboll outcoached Nick Sirianni. And every part, the OC, the DC, every part of the Giants organization outcoached the Eagles. Vic Fangio got shit on. I don't even want to say his name. I'm actually not going to say his name because it verbally pisses me off. The Eagles offensive coordinator, because Jalen Hurts is in his 5th year, won Super Bowl MVP, and his playbook is this. I've seen the Eagles run the same play over and over and over and over and over again.
Perfect system. Look, I agree with you, right? This was one of the few games probably in Dable's Giants career where he really did show out. He gave a lot of trust to Dart, and that's going to continue to be moving forward, right? The playbook, to your point, is going to continue to widen. This kid by the end of the year is going to be fully immersed in every play. And I think it should go noticed. The Giants' offensive line is still garbage, Derek. Still horrible. But the ability of Dart to scramble, right, to get away from it, he only got sacked once with a bottom 5 offensive line in the league against a very top-tier Eagles defense, which, mind you, I want to mention, Jalen Carter was out, but still, right? It's these little wins that you like to see. You like to see the progression. And I think that's what you want to see as a Giants fan. You're not going anywhere this year. You're not making the playoffs. You're not even going to try to vie for a playoff spot. But if you continue to see these little wins, if you continue to see the progression on the offensive side of the ball, if you can start visualizing Dart as a franchise quarterback, the year is won already. That's it. That's all you got to see. And this was a good step in the right direction. Got to see it next week.
Another thing two more things I want to touch on for the Giants, is a positive towards the Giants, is it's good when you see in MetLife the stadium erupting for all these mini moments. Jackson Dart on 4th down and 1. He knows Scadaboo scores. He knows he's in the end zone. Ref has his hand up. Walks over to the ref, gives him a high five. Like, it's these little moments that fans are at the game, are noticing and erupting, and it brings the energy to the stadium.
Perfect word. We talked about it with the Chargers game too. It's a different energy. It's a different vibe. Something different that we haven't had in a long time. So at the very least, he's already changed the culture. What we need to see now is progression. We need to see he's actually a franchise quarterback, because if he just does it a few games, right, that's not going to cut it.
And when Russ got put in, he got booed out of the stadium. And when Dable saw him, it looked like he wanted to suck his dick.
Look, I mean, this kid, it's not short of saying he is quite literally saving Dable's job. Not only Dable's job, right? He's also saving our general manager Shane's job. This kid is they went all in the Giants. They put every chip they had in the middle on one guy. And that's where they're willing to die. And they're going to see this for better or for worse. And so far, it's for better.
Yeah. And one last thing, because we have to talk about, because it's kind of big news for the Giants, is what happened in the medical tent. I want to know your opinion on like how the NFL. What do you think the NFL is going to do to go about this?
Yeah, so the Giants did release a statement, specifically John Mara, right, saying that's unacceptable. It's unprofessional, right? Bad on Dable's part. Horrific on Dable's part, I should say. Bad on Scadaboo's part, right? You can't go into the medical tent when a player is getting evaluated. It's just not professional, especially when it comes to player health safety. This kid is quite literally your franchise. At least for the time being, right now in this present moment, I get how important he is to this team, but you can't jeopardize it by putting him in there, God forbid, if he did have a concussion. Right? And forcing him out and cursing out the medical staff. That's not how it works. If he's good, he's going to be back in a few plays. If he's good, he'll be back on the next drive. I get it. This was a huge game for the Giants, right? Russ came in, immediately threw an incomplete pass. The stadium wanted to literally take out sniper rifles collectively and shoot him in the head. I get it. I do. I'm a Giant fan. I'm watching it the same as everybody. But you have to adhere to the kid's health. You can't jeopardize that moving forward. God forbid he did have a concussion. So it can't happen again. I'm sure it won't happen again. And hopefully Dable is a little bit more professional on the sideline rather than going into a frantic maniac who wants to go into the medical tent and start sucking Jackson Dart off.
Yeah. I had to get my opinion on it is like, I just think overall they all fucked up. I think what they should do to conquer this is just like find all these players, have them release a statement, get it done. Simple as that. Because you can't walk away from doing that after what's been happening with concussions these past couple years without a punishment. So I think at least Dable, Scadaboo, and then the medical staff, if anything, should get fined. Just at maybe $5. Not much money. Just fine them for their fuck ups. Oh God, this sadness is kind of making me. And it's just continued sadness because this next thing we're about to talk about is just sadness for both of us.
I'm going to let you start off.
Okay. So, this past week, the New York Yankees are versus the Toronto Blue Jays. Me and Dean were very happy. We were like, all right, there's a chance. We might have a chance. After the first round, we were very hyped. Very, very hyped. Here comes Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to shit on our chest. And the Yankees, overall, got absolutely dog-walked this entire series.
Flashback.
I'm going the Yankees out of the AL. They take care of business against the Red Sox. In my humble opinion, I think the Red Sox are their toughest opponent. I think if they can get past the Red Sox, I'm not going to say it's easy, but I think their path is much easier just because of who they have to go against, right? I'm personally not afraid of the Blue Jays. That's going to bite me in the ass because you can play back that video if we lose to the Blue Jays.
End of flashback.
Absolutely dog-walked. I'm going to start off with one positive. One positive for the New York Yankees is Aaron Judge showed up in the playoffs. He played, in my opinion, very good baseball. He batted around 500. I believe he had 2 home runs and a couple RBIs. Somewhere in that range, or that could have just been the ALDS. The offense, let's start this off, played the worst. I think a Little League team could have played better. Because Volpe, for example, obviously we had our little moments. We're the Bronx Bombers. We hit our home runs in the shortest and short left field and short right field. Ryan McMahon, who we just traded for, he hit a home run in game 2. Was it game 2 or game 3? I'm thinking 3. It was 3 because we won game 3 when he hit a home run. Game 1 and 2 in Toronto. I've never seen the Yankees play so bad before in my life. Max Free got lit up like a fucking Christmas tree. It was the worst display I've ever seen in my life. And even going into the next game, Rodon got absolutely ruined on national television. It was just not good baseball. All the stretch of imagination. Going on to when you go to the Yankees, go into the Bronx, we take 1 game. Because why? Home runs. And we were down in that game. And we won pretty much because of a grand slam. No, 3-run home run.
Yeah, I mean, look, everything we've been talking about all year with this Yankees team came to fruition. The light showed on all of their issues that were not going anywhere. And that were talked about extensively across all media platforms, across all, broadcasting stations, across all analysts in the MLB. They had glaring issues that have not changed, right? Their lineup continued to be all or nothing. And that's how it went into the postseason, right? Judge was always that constant, batting .330, probably going to be the MVP, over 50 home runs. He continued into the postseason, right? But the Yankees themselves showed it wasn't enough. You had your best hitters besides Judge, right? So I'm talking Cody Bellinger, Jazz Chisholm, Giancarlo Stanton, Trent Grisham, who all batted over .250 this year, all of whom batted below 180 in the playoffs. No clutch hitting whatsoever. Everybody swinging for a home run ball, specifically Jazz, who should be a base hit and doubles guy because of his speed, but instead he likes to swing for the fences. And all of these glaring issues on the lineup side came to fruition. Nothing was working, right? Judge would get a single, Judge would get a double. Done. Bases loaded, no outs. Bases loaded, 1 outs, not being able to get the run in because everybody's swinging for a home run rather than putting the ball in play and getting a base hit. It's these little things, these fundamentals that other teams are able to do, and they understand the concept of baseball, where the Yankees are going for the all or nothing. And that does not work. It doesn't work. It's proven to not work over the last 5-6 years, right, within this organization, where they go power heavy, contact less, and rely on the home run ball, and it didn't work. Not to mention, the worst part about this series The Yankees' strength going into the series, at least we thought it was starting pitching. We had the Toronto Blue Jays on starting pitching, right? Luis Heel, game 1, gets absolutely fucking destroyed. Max Fried, game 2, gets absolutely fucking destroyed. Gets run out of the building. And then Will Warren, following him coming into the game, gets absolutely run out of the building as well. Gives up 13 runs in game 2. Nobody's winning if you give up 13 runs. Game 3, Carlos Rodon, another portion of our strong starting pitching staff, gives up 6 runs, gets out in 2 2/3. Right? So you have to rely on your bullpen. And the only reason they won that game was because of Judge. And was because their lineup actually started to hit home runs. But then the issues came up again in game 4, right? Where the only bright spot of the starting pitching staff, Cam Schlittler, came in, gave you 6 strong, 2 runs. Not good enough. Sorry, Cam, right? Because we couldn't score. So the strength of our team, which was supposed to be starting pitching, besides Cam Schlittler, the first 3 games, had over a 9 ERA. You put that together with the rest of the team batting-wise, batting under 200, it's a miracle they even made the playoffs. It's a miracle they made it past Boston. They didn't deserve it. And these have been glaring issues year after year after year that they just completely ignore. That Cashman does not address in the offseason, because rather than going for hitters that maybe get singles, right, get on base, give the opportunity to Judge to drive you in, or Judge gets on base, get somebody to give him the opportunity to get his ass in. No, home run ball or nothing. So these issues, they're not going anywhere. They're going to happen again into this offseason. And I hate to say it because I'm a Yankee fan too, right? Nothing changes until the philosophy changes. You can hate on Aaron Boone all you want. It's not his fault his starting pitching didn't go past 3 innings in this series. It's not his fault his hitters don't hit with runnings or scoring position. You can blame Boone all you want for some decisions like relief pitcher decisions and lineup decisions, but it's not his fault that his team didn't perform the way they did. The fault is on Brian Cashman for constructing this team. And nothing changes until the philosophy changes. And what I mean by that is until Brian Cashman goes. And you get somebody in charge who actually wants to change the scheme of the team. And it's not going to happen. He's not going anywhere.
Dean, don't say that. Don't say that. I know you know that the Yankees will probably not do anything. But obviously, the season's over. You're 100% right. You can't blame it on Boone. He can't control if his pitchers give up fucking 18 fucking runs. Or if they give him 13, or they give up 10, or they give up 9. It all lies on Cashman. And what I'm seeing, and what the higher-ups for the Yankees need to fucking see, is in the past 11 years. Was it 11 or 12?
For what? The last time we were in the 2009, Derek. It's been 16 years.
Even worse. No, I'm trying to think when Cashman got hired.
Cashman has been with the Yankees organization since 1997.
Oh my god. I don't know what happened. See, this is the thing I don't understand. Is what has happened from obviously 1 year. Is the reason why he's staying there is because the championship that they won? Like, I don't understand.
Look, there's a very simple fact as to why Cashman has been in charge, right? Because he makes competitive baseball teams, which he does, right? Especially with our payroll, it's kind of hard not to make a competitive baseball team.
A squirrel could have made that.
And Hal Steinbrenner makes his money. It's that the philosophy of the organization is different, right? And everybody talks about it, and I wasn't alive to see it, unfortunately, right? At least I was towards the end of it, but it wasn't where I can remember it. But all of our parents, all of our grandparents talk about George Steinbrenner, right? Where he was the worst loser on the face of the planet. He was like a fan. He managed the team like a fan would, right? If you don't win a championship, your year is a failure. They don't think like that anymore. Hal doesn't think like that anymore. Hal thinks if my pocket is looking green and full, I'm okay with the way this season was set up. So Cashman, go do your thing. Hal still spends money. I'm not blaming Hal on his payroll because he's still top 3 in the major leagues. He still does it. The issue with Hal is he's so complacent with where this team has been and with how long it's been going on, he refuses to fire Brian Cashman, which is what you need. You need to spend the money smartly. You need to allocate funds to positions that will help your team succeed. The philosophy needs a change. Brian Cashman is a stubborn individual, and what he thinks goes. He is going to continue to build lineups that are centered around home run ball. That's just the way he has been over the last few years. That's just the way it is going to be moving forward. And I can tell you this, I'm no fortune teller, but you will continue to have failures every year until something changes on that regard. Look at the other teams that are still in the playoffs right now. Toronto Blue Jays, they do not strike out. They get the ball in play. They make things happen. That is why they are in the ALCS right now. Same exact thing with Seattle. There's no superstars on that team besides Cal Raleigh this year. Julio Rodriguez is a good player. He ain't no superstar. They all collectively get on base. They don't strike out. They put the ball in play. Look at the other side, right? The Dodgers. We know what the Dodgers are. They're an anomaly. Their lineup is insane. Nobody can replicate that. It's just not happening, right? With the superstar power that they've been able to do. But look at Milwaukee's another perfect example. Their lineup, no superstars whatsoever. But they still score runs because they don't strike out, that they get the ball in the play. That's why you fail. Because in the postseason, if you're a strikeout team and a home run team, you will not succeed against good pitching. And that's what you see in the postseason. And that's why the Yankees fail continuously every year. Their philosophy is flawed. It needs to be changed. It starts with Cashman, and it won't happen. That's it. That's the simple fact.
Yeah, I understand. That's a simple fact. But you're 100% right with going back in time with George. The Yankees are a completely different organization than it was back in the day than it is now. It's like they erased all that they've done in the past. When you would think, even with, because the name, I don't know this. I actually don't know this. Are Hal and George, what is George to Hal?
Hal is George's son.
Okay. Wouldn't you think that he wouldn't want to tarnish the legacy of the Steinbrenner name? Obviously, he has the money. I understand that. All he cares about is pockets being green. You could have billions of fucking dollars and the team be donkey dick. You couldn't give a fuck.
Their definitions of success are different. That's it. That's the simple fact of it, right? George Steinbrenner's definition of success was winning a World Series. Anything short of that, failure of a season. You had players that openly said it. Derek Jeter, the captain, said it multiple times, right? He didn't care if he lost in Game 7 of the World Series. That season was an automatic failure.
Are you a graceful loser?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm like a Yankee fan. My foot has gone through a number of television sets in my time. I bleed like those guys out there do, the fans. I mean, they hate to see you lose, and I hate to lose.
You take it personally?
Yes?
I mean, how do you rate losing? You know
It's
what I
all
mean?
misery to you.
Yeah, I've never understood it. You know, well, it feels better because we made it to the World Series and lost. Why does it feel better?
And that's just a simple fact. Success nowadays on this Yankee team is deemed as, did we make the playoffs? Right? Did we get a home field game going in the playoffs? Right? Are we at least able to say that we took that next step? That's what their success is built off of. And it needs a change. You see it with Judge sometimes, right? He's the captain for a reason. He comes out into the media and says, you know, we didn't reach our ultimate goal. That's it. We failed. You won't hear that from some of the higher ups because that's just not the way they think. They'll say it for the media, but it's not reality. And unfortunately, look, nobody's going to be George again in this franchise. It's just not going to happen. But if Cashman goes, you can at least change a philosophy of a lineup. That's how it has to work. The philosophy of the organization is flawed just from the minor leagues down. They prioritize power, they prioritize home run hitting, and it's just not working. It's better to have players in your lineup that don't strike out, that make contact, because then things can happen. And then you mix in a couple of home run hitters, right? You already have the best in the world, right? So you have to make those changes around Judge. And that's where they need to make that's where they're going to have to make their most changes in the offseason.
One thing, the most irritating thing I've ever seen on national television after the Yankees lose a series is Vladimir Guerrero celebrating in the Bronx, in the fucking locker room, and him speaking with David Ortiz and him saying, "The Yankees lose. I want to go to the Bronx, kick down that door and spike him in the head.
Yeah. And if anybody watched the post game, which you did clearly, right? And I'm sure a lot of people did. It's so refreshing to hear guys like A-Rod and Jeter speak on what this season was and how it turned into a failure. Jeter said it best, right? As Yankee fans, we are gutted because this is now 2 years in a row that we've seen an opposing team celebrate on our home field.
What's tough is for the Yankee fans, right? This is the second year in a row that they've watched another team celebrate on their home field. And you can feel the frustration.
That's the most demoralizing feeling when you see another team celebrate in your home, in your stadium, when you're going home.
Not unless they're rivals too in the division.
It's just brutal to see. And A-Rod said it himself. Though I would recommend anybody go say it because they are blunt. They have no ties to this organization, and they say it how it is because they won and they know what it takes to win. Right? They're saying straight out, outright, this is unacceptable. It just is. And it's a shame because I'm not sure if anything's going to change this offseason. I'm really not. We're going to have to wait and see. It's just a disappointing end, but I do want to stress this. It was a predictable end, right? I'm personally not afraid of the Blue Jays.
Yeah. Honestly, as soon as Garrett Cole went out, I just had a feeling that this year was just going to be a dumpster fire. Which I understand we made the playoffs, but with us being, correct me, you said the third highest payroll in the MLB and only making it to the ALDS, kind of pisses me off.
Look, and teams show this throughout the major leagues, right? Look at the Blue Jays, look at the Mariners, look at the Brewers. Payroll doesn't always equal success. Those teams do not have the highest payroll in the majors, yet they're in the ALCS. Meanwhile, look at the Yankees eliminating the ALDS. Look at the Mets not even making the playoffs. Those are two of the top 3 payrolls in the majors. Yes, there's a good chance the top payroll in the majors makes the World Series and wins it again. Right? We're not talking about the Dodgers. The Dodgers are an anomaly. They have the greatest players in the world on their team collectively. They are a freak of a team. They're great. They're perfectly constructed, and it works. But you look at the other teams, payroll does not always equate to success, right? You need the right construction of a roster. It's just that simple. It always has been. It always will be.
Yeah. Do you have anything else would you like to say about the Yankees, or are you done with this sadness?
No, I think everything that needs to be said was said. It's just another disappointing year. This year, definitely more predictable than last. You beat Boston. Good for you. Raise the banner. But then you get eliminated against the Blue Jays in your home field again. Changes need to happen. It's just that simple. We're in for a long off season, and I doubt anything in the front office will change. So, looking forward to it.
All I have to say is fire fucking Cashman. That's all I have to say. That's my closing statement. I don't want to speak about baseball until the free agency. I think we could both agree on that. Fuck this World Series, because we do have to talk about it, because our predictions. We'll wait until the ALCS conclude to speak about our predictions, speak about our playoff predictions. But let's just say it's not looking good for me, Indian.
Yeah.
Not at all.
No.
But hey, it's fine. And now I'm going to bring up a new thing, but it's just because I want to hear if this is an overreaction or if this is a perfectly right reaction. It's a part of Derek's thoughts.
Derek's thoughts.
Okay.
So that we're retracing back to the NFL with Patrick Mahomes just recently in the betting platform, jumping to favored to win MVP. Is it crazy for people to believe that the true MVP this season is Baker Mayfield? Is that an overreaction or is that perfectly right? I think that Baker Mayfield should be the MVP instead of Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, so you would take Baker Mayfield over Patrick Mahomes right now in your MVP votes. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. All right. Let me think about this just for a quick second, because I do want to try to give the best, the best answer possible, right? I'm gonna say It's not a complete overreaction, right? Mahomes has had a great year. He's completely opposite, honestly, than last year, right? They're relying a lot more on Mahomes rather than last year. Maybe they ran the ball quite a bit more often. Mahomes has definitely been up to the case, and that's without some of his top wide receivers week in and week out. So what he's done so far, yeah, I would probably put him as the favorite still. If you are going to put a close second, there's a couple people that come to mind, right? Yes, Baker Mayfield's one of them. He's had a tremendous year, and he's another one where he has had a carousel of different receivers coming in and out, right? Mike Evans missing games, Godwin missing the first few games and then missing last week. Now Buka is going to be missing a few games moving forward as well. So he has his own struggles on his own team, right? With Mahomes. So I get it. He should be up there too. You can't discount Josh Allen, right? They've had a bad past couple of weeks, but he should still be up there in the voting. I think regardless of what the team stats are and what the record are, if you're putting that aside, I think Dak Prescott has had an unbelievable bounce back year, right? Where he deserves some recognition for the way he's playing and the way he's throwing the ball because his resurgence has been fantastic. He's the only reason the Dallas Cowboys have a few wins. So he should be in the conversation as well. I think another one who people are missing, I think a dark horse, Drake May. Kid has been absolutely outstanding. And he's a major reason why the New England Patriots are one in the division right now. So I don't want to discount these players. To your point, Derek, no, I don't think it's an overreaction, right? That Baker Mayfield is the MVP right now, because he's definitely top 3 at the very least. Probably top 2. I don't know the odds. I don't want to know the odds. I'm not a betting man. But yes, if my eyes, he's probably top 2 right now. So I don't think it's an overreaction.
The only reason why, like I'm saying it's an overreaction, is based off of this. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is known to be one of the best quarterbacks we've seen in our life, in yours and my lifetime. Because we saw like the tail end, us like actually physically remember the tail end of Brady.
I remember most of it. I'm older than you.
It doesn't matter, but still, we're seeing. Yeah, but we didn't see it from ground zero. We saw Mahomes from ground zero.
I saw some other great. Look.
All right, let me get to my point. Let me get to my point.
Okay.
What I'm saying is this, and it kind of pisses me off, is what is the Chiefs right now are not first in their division. They are not, as a team, they do not have the wins. I believe they're 3-3 this year. They've had 2 good weeks against, they demolished the Ravens. They just demolished the Lions and they won. And then they beat their last week before, who did they beat last week? Oh yeah, they beat the Giants. The fact of the matter is this, is Baker Mayfield, I understand, these games that he's winning are because of him. Obviously their division is donkey dick. But they're first in a division because clutch moments that he did. Seattle, clutch. Jets, clutch. He played in a key moment against the Niners last week. He ran for a 14-yard run on 3rd down. And that shows the grit that that him as a player he has.
Nobody's discounting what Baker Mayfield is doing. Nobody. He's tremendous. I do want to steer away from that argument that you're having, though, of the team that's better. The team that's better is more likely to have the MVP, right? In my eyes, how it always has been, MVP is most valuable player. Straight up, right? Take Mahomes off the Chiefs right now, Derek. Are they 3-3?
No.
Take Baker off Tampa. They're still probably around 4-2.
I disagree.
And once again, I'm not discounting Baker Mayfield. The guy is phenomenal this year. I'm just saying Tampa Bay has a much more complete team in a weaker division with weaker opponents so far than what Patrick Mahomes has done. Like I said, I still think they're 1-2 back to back. I still think you can make the argument for either one of them right now to be MVP. But I think Mahomes means more to his team at this very moment, just slightly, than Baker means to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's my argument. It could be wrong.
It's obviously it's opinion based, but I just think that this year, in general, that Baker is more important to the Bucks than what not Mahomes is to the Chiefs, but the way it's so hard to portray the words that I want to say. But what I'm saying, I just think like overall, in my opinion, MVP should go on how a quarterback is playing. And I think, in my eyes, that Baker is outplaying Patrick Mahomes this year.
That's fine.
And that's just my opinion. Because I'm thinking of clutch moments that they've had. Moments where you need them the most, where that's where the quarterback has to step up, the captain, and pull out big moments.
That's
and they've
fine.
done that.
And I like that argument, right? Most valuable player. Take the guy off the team. Are they still where they're at? I agree. And I do want to preface, we are only 6 games into this year. So there is a lot of football to be played, which is one of the other reasons why I don't think it's overreaction, because there's so much football to be played, Derek, right? We could be looking at this in another 4 or 5 weeks. Baker Mayfield and or Patrick Mahomes could fall off a cliff. They won't. They won't, right? They're still going to perform at the level that they have been, but I'm just saying a lot of things can change between now and the end of the year, let alone a lot of things can change now between now and December, let alone now and at the end of the year. There are so many more weeks left to be played. It's going to be interesting to see, but yes, those two are definitely the top 2 runners right now in the MVP voting 6 weeks in.
Well, that is a cute little Derek's thoughts. And we'll be bringing it back from my little overreactions or underreactions in all sports. We got to bring back Derek's thoughts because my thoughts are sometimes very stupid.
Your brain is stupid.
All right, leave me alone. I have a problem. All right, but this does conclude this part of the podcast. Now we got to go to our picks and how we could do this, because I want to. What we could do, since we missed these 2 weeks, is these games count for 2 to balance out the week that we missed.
So I'm okay with the spreads counting for 2. I did want to preface, I know Derek is, and to all the viewers out there, I'm personally in a spread pool, so I wrote down who I picked last week. Not a spread pool. I'm personally in a survivor pool, so I put down my lock of the week for last week. I took the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it won. So I will not be allowed to use the Steelers moving forward either. I just wanted to preface that. But the spreads, sure, I'm okay with them counting for 2 this week.
Just to balance out, so when we go down and we say, "Oh, I destroyed you," that's how it counts.
That's fine. I'm okay with this.
All right, I'm actually kind of hyped for my picks because my picks are bold. I obviously have to go my standard in life, being bold at everything I do.
Would you like to start it off with the spreads?
Of course I do. My first team that I'm taking the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team who just lost to Seattle at home, +3 against potentially a no Puka Rams. I think it's a good spread, honestly. If Puka doesn't play, that team's a completely different team.
I think it's a fine pick.
I hate you. I literally hate you.
I don't know what you want me to say.
I know.
Okay, all right. I can start off by spreads here finally. This week are tough. There's quite a few teams that I like. There's quite a few spreads that I do like as well. Going to start mine off with a dog, which is shocking just because of the team I'm about to say. I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins +2.5 against the Cleveland Browns. This is a shit off in all regards, right? Both of these teams absolutely suck ass. I just think the Browns suck a little more ass. So I'm going to take the Dolphins +2.5.
It's a lot of ass sucking.
Yeah, it's a lot of ass sucking.
Solid. Can't say anything else about that. I'm going to my next one, which is a divisional game. I'm going to go Commanders after losing to the Caleb Williams, pretty solid team. -2.5 against the Cowboys. So Commanders -2.5 against the Cowboys. And guys, I'm actually using DraftKings for these picks. I'm not using any other betting. I'm looking at DraftKings.
Very nice. Very nice. I usually don't do this, but the spread's too large for my liking, and I do realize it's going to be in Denver. I am going to take the Giants +7. I'm going to take them to, at the very least, lose within a touchdown. I usually don't do that. I usually don't like taking my own team just because if it loses not only do I feel upset that the Giants lose, I feel like an absolute ass that the Giants got ass raped. So I'm going to go against my little one rule here. I'm going to take the Giants +7.
I was saying you normally take a lot of teams that have high spread, and then when you said your team, retract everything I just said.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with my next pick, and it's gonna be a team who I'm really liking this year. And by the way, their only loss is to my team. I'm gonna choose the NFC. Right now, I think on paper, the NFC favorites, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm taking them +5.5 against the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football.
Very nice.
I think that's honestly too much. I don't know why that spread is that wide after they just.
I think it's because a lot of their offensive players, the Bucs, are injured heading into this week. But I do agree. I think that's a little bit of a crazy spread. I think it should be a lot closer, especially since the Lions just got absolutely fucked in the ass. But still, I like that pick. I think that's fine. My third spread is very tough. I'm going to be real with you. I don't like quite literally any any of the other spreads across the NFL this week. I think they're all pretty crap. That being said, I think there's going to be a bounce back. The spread is very small, so I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the Eagles -1.5.
This is shocking. You taking my team, you taking your team. This is weird.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles -1.5 over the Vikings. The Vikings are still working on a quarterback situation, whether they're going to start what's his face this week, Carson Wentz, or they're going to start JJ McCarthy. It's going to come down to practice. So I think the Eagles will do a big bounce back here after getting humiliated on Thursday Night Football. Humiliated. Sorry, had to say it. All right, you can continue. What's your lock of the week, Derek?
Okay, that was demoralizing, but it's fine. All right, my lock of the week this week is going on in our Monday night game because I don't believe I've picked them yet. I was going to do the Patriots versus the Saints as my lock of the week, but I believe I picked the Patriots before, and I'm not going to do that again because I can't do that. And I'm going to take Seattle because I know for damn well I did not take Seattle.
Well, you got to be writing this shit down, Derek. This is why I write it down.
Yeah, I should. I'm writing it down starting now.
Oh my god!
I told you my brain is not the best.
You're just a person to do a podcast with. God, I despise your face.
Okay, but I'm taking Seattle as my lock of the week against Houston Texans. Texans aren't a good team in my eyes. They are not good at all. CJ Stroud's overrated. Coaching is horrible. Defense is horrible. And yeah, I take Seattle as my lock of the week.
Okay, cool. Now, I have taken notes on who I've picked, so I'm very well aware of who I cannot pick. We're getting into the nitty gritty now, right? You got to start taking chances, start taking teams that you think would be, locks. My initial was going to be the Patriots, right? They're going against Tennessee. No way the Patriots lose this game, and they won't.
That's what I meant.
But I'm not going to. I'm not going to take the Patriots. I'm going to go a little bit more bold because I think I can use the Patriots in a week later in the year. I'm going to go the Carolina Panthers as my lock of the week against the Jets. Yes, it scares me to take this. Yes, I think there's a very realistic chance at home the Jets steal their first win of the year. The Panthers are not a good away team. They're really bad. However, the Panthers are playing better ball as of late. The Jets are playing worse ball than they've maybe ever played. So I'm going to go with it. I'm going to use the Panthers here because I don't see another area or another week where I would use the Panthers. So I'm going to take the Panthers reluctantly, and we'll see how it goes.
That's a very scary one, dude. Very, very scary.
It is scary. I'm not feeling great about it, if I'm being honest.
But there's one good thing that's on your upside is Garrett Wilson is not playing this week. So,
I know.
So he doesn't have receivers to throw to. Besides him, he's going to be running a lot. But, Dean, great lock. And good job for being smarter than me, once again, and writing them down. I'm gonna go back and look at the teams I've picked lock of the week. And to be fair, I'm saying this now. If I fuck up from here on out, it'll be minus a win for me.
No, it'll be minus 2 wins.
All right, that's fair. 2 wins. That's fine. That's fine.
For every fuck.
Yeah. Every fuck up minus 2. That's fair? Fair. Now, that does conclude our betting segment. Even though Dean did say prior, he's not a betting man. There's a whole segment where we talk about the spreads, which is in betting. Anyway.
Nobody said I was good.
Anyway, we gotta move on to Dean's favorite segment. And mine.
Baller of the week. Thank you. It was a nice, quick, simple one to the point.
And Dean, I've been starting, because I know for a fact I've been starting. I want you to start.
Okay, so as Derek mentioned, he has gone first the last couple of weeks. I'm going to go, I guess, for lack of a better term, a pretty obvious one, right? I have to go with something that makes my life a little happy. So fuck you, Derek. I am going to go my baller of the week, Cam Scattaboo. My favorite crayon eater of all time. This man is an absolute tank. 3 touchdowns, 98 rushing yards on national television against the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, carrying the Giants to maybe their biggest win in the last 5 years, their first Thursday night football win in 11 games. The man is an absolute stud, backflips and all, surfing celebrations and all, slamming his head into a brick wall and all. Eagles fans are scared of him, and I love that. And that is my baller of the week.
That's probably the most highest energy baller of the week I've ever seen you have ever. So I guess it's a good one. The sad thing is that I like Cam Scattaboo because he's a good player. And I can't hate a guy if he's a good player, even if he's a Giants. Like, I don't hate neighbors.
I can hate players if they're good.
But I'm going to go into mine. Good baller of the week, team. I'm going to go touch base on social media. We're talking on technically social media right now. I'm going to go to Twitch. I'm going to go to the month of October, technically. Currently, right now, what's going on the side of Twitch is a big organization known as FaZe, who some kids who are watching this, who kind of lived on, if you lived on Earth and were on YouTube as a kid, you know who they are. FaZe. They have their monthly subathon, and it's running in the month of October. In day 14, a person who just started streaming, who was an old-time YouTuber, FaZe Adapt, who most kids watched, who played like COD. They saw all these FaZe users, they saw trick shots. You always wanted to be FaZe, all this, that, and the third. If you had those moments. I could be just speaking in my experience. But as a young kid watching a guy, and he joins streaming last year, starts off with 900 subscribers, ended with 30,000. This year, in day 15 out of 31, 15 out of 31, he has 91,000 subscribers, which every sub, I'm not a pocket watcher, but I'm a pocket watcher. Every sub is $7.99. So people are spending money for this guy to have subs, and he has 91,000 subscribers in day 15 compared to last year when he had 30,000 at the end. So I just think, obviously, he is one of the GOATs in the industry. His name can't go unrecognized, and this is just respect out to him. That's it.
Okay.
And that's why he's my baller of the week.
Cool. Nice baller of the week. Too bad you never had any of those moments in your gaming career, Derek, but good baller of the week.
I'm a better COD player than you.
Oh my God. We're not going to get into this. It's not even remotely close to factual, but we're not getting into this.
So factual.
Okay, and thank you everybody for watching. That was our lovely segment of the Double D Report, starring me, beautiful old me. You guys all hate me in the comments, but that's fine. You just hate me because I say factual things, and that's okay. And then there's Derek over here, the guy who just has a hamster wheel spinning in his head.
Yeah, all right, yes. But Dean is right. Let's conclude the podcast. Like, subscribe, follow on TikTok, follow on Instagram. We're going to be posting shorts. We're going to be talking community. Reach out to us. Make fun of Dean. Make fun of me. Call me fat. Call his mullet bad. I don't care. It's not a mullet. I don't know. And it's not a mullet anymore, but people just don't like your mullet. But anyway, like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment, and try to, and at least by the end of by the end of the regular season, I want to have 100 subscribers. Let's get to 100 subscribers, and I'll do something because I'm special. I'll do something at 100 subscribers. It'll be a surprise, but I'll do something. But anyway, like, subscribe, follow, and peace.